Hey everybody, Stuff I Heard podcast. I'm your host Josh Peak, and here we go. Welcome! Glad you guys are here. This is episode 199. We're just one away from 200. Wow, I'm excited. Makes me kind of wonder what I should do special for 200. I mean, should I put on a funny face, wear a mask, dance around, maybe have in some celebrities? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what can happen. You never know. I reached out to Bert. I doubt he'll show up for my 200th, but you never know, right? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. That's what they say anyway. Today is March the 14th, 2020. Yesterday was the dreaded Friday the 13th. Ooh. I feel bad for people who actually have that weird superstition of thinking that something awful is going to happen to them just because there's a day of the week. Oh no, it's the day. It's that dreaded day, the number in the... Oh, no. I don't know why anybody has such a big deal about that. The 13th has actually been a good number for me. It was my grandmother's birthday. That was it, 13. But because of that, I'm like, yeah, I'm not afraid of a stupid day. Who cares? Who cares? I was born during a lightning storm. I'm not afraid of lightning. It's lightning outside. I'm like, hey, cool, lightning. Whatever. It is what it is. We should all approach life that way, you know? I mean, I'm not saying that you should go out and start licking door handles. I mean, not with the corona thing going on, but, again, let's talk about the coronavirus, shall we? Because people are losing their minds. I mean, the country, people are posting, photos and videos of their local stores, and it looks like we look whenever there's a hurricane coming. I mean, it's just like, oh, look, they bought out all the whatever. All the toilet paper, all the bread, all the milk. Really? So is the idea that you're just going to be stuck inside and so you don't want to run out? Or is the idea of, I may never leave my house for the next month, so I need to buy as many supplies as I can? Or is there such a shortage? Like somebody pointed out to me, they're like, I think this stuff comes from China and that's why we don't have any. I mean, what's the truth? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm lucky in the fact that we buy in bulk from Sam's, and without even thinking about it, we'd already bought things that we needed. So I went to the store today to walk around, and I actually needed to get some chicken breast. Not like need, but like I wanted some chicken breast. And I'm walking around, and when I went in the store there was none. And I was like, okay, that's a little weird. Now I turned an aisle, and a lot of stuff on that aisle was empty too. And I was like, that's weird. And then all of the paper goods were empty. And then I went on this section where they normally sit down pallets of stuff. And there was none. There was no pallets. I was like, wow, this is just creepy. It's creepy. But I was able to get the stuff I needed. They didn't have any chicken when I was in there. But I was like, well, it's like 10 o'clock or so. And let me just walk around. Maybe they'll bring some out. So I made my rounds and walked around the store. And I thought, let me go back there and check again. And there it was. It was chicken. The guy was bringing it out in these boxes taller than his head on a cart. And he brought them out and plucked them in there. And I was like, cool, chicken. So got some chicken. I actually came home and cooked that chicken too. I put some pictures on my Instagram. JTATPEK. Cooked it on the grill, and it was delicious and tasty. And I made a bunch. Bought like the whole big pack. See, here's the crazy thing. When you buy that stuff at Sam's, the big pack that's got like, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 so chicken breasts is like $13. If I were to go to, I went to Harris Teeter yesterday after work, and they had a pack with like 4 chicken breasts in it, and it was $15. I was like, why are you guys charging $15 for the same stuff that costs way less over here? I mean, I don't know. I get the impression that sometimes certain stores take advantage of people. Maybe it's because of sales. Maybe if they run sales, they're like, well, we're going to lose money on this, but we got to make money on this other thing. I mean, they're all in business to make money, right? And I'm sure Sam's has got theirs all pennied out to where, oh, if we sell this, we'll make a profit. And people buy tons of crap anyway. We'll just keep putting it out. And they only put out stuff that sells. And maybe stores like Harris Teeter or Food Line or whatever your grocery store is, maybe they look at that stuff and go, all right, we're going to discount Cokes or whatever, and then we're just going to lose money on that, but we'll make money on people buying chicken. So, I don't know. I'm sure there's a bunch of bean counters out there that got this stuff all figured out. Like, we got the science of this, buddy. Don't even worry about it. So, lots of stuff going on right now. A lot of stuff I've listened to and watched. This is the Stuff I Heard podcast, so let's just jump into it. I rode with a driver this past week, and he likes NASCAR. He's a big NASCAR fan. And he's like, hey, man, have you heard the podcast with Dale Jr.? I was like, I mean, I've heard him on Joe. And he was like, no. Dale Jr.'s got his own podcast. It's called the Dale Jr. Download. And I was like, okay. He's like, it's really cool. And he was so excited, he didn't even ask me if I wanted to hear it. He just put it on and played it. And it was really cool. It was really cool. The first episode we listened to was with Ken Schrader, who was a driver for NASCAR. I think he's since retired. I'm not 100% sure that I think he's retired. He used to race with Dale Earnhardt Sr., and there's a lot of stories of them coming up together and being friends and, you know, having kind of a rough friendship at times. There's a funny story in there about Ken Schrader taking Dale Jr. on the road with him for a week, and they partied really hard, and his dad was pretty pissed off about it when he found out. They did mention in there a lot of old stories about things that they did when they were racing, about, you know, getting in wrecks before with each other and you know, driving each other's cars and that kind of stuff. And he's doing some kind of charity thing coming up, which is a figure 8 bus race. Now, if you picture the figure 8 and imagine that as your track and you're driving a bus, he said they pay out just a little bit of money, but if you roll over, they give you $200. So it's actually encouraged that your buddies roll you over. I was like, that sounds like a ton of fun. I kind of want to do that. Because I don't know that it's real important that you go fast as much as it's important that you crash. I thought, wow, that'd be fun. But anyway, the Ken Schrader episode was great. And then he rolled right into another one, which was an interview with a guy named James Finch. James Finch starts off the story talking about when he was a young man, working and not making a whole lot of money, doing what they call the drag line. And he said he had an opportunity at a fairgrounds. They had a bunch of cars lined up in a jump, and they said, if anybody can jump these cars with a motorcycle, you know, we'll pay out $1,000. And he said he went and borrowed somebody's motorcycle, and he jumped it, and he made it. And he said, I did 5 minutes worth of work, and I got $1,000. He goes, this other job that I'm busting my tail on all the time, that's dragging this line, wasn't paying me but like $300 for a whole week's worth of work. And I thought, well, this is a way better way to make a living. I'm going to do this. So his stories just go off from there. He's had a lot of crazy things happen. He talks about being a car owner in his 20s in NASCAR. Or maybe not NASCAR, but a car owner. I think it was like midget races first or outlaw series or something like that. But he's got a lot of crazy stories. He's been a car owner for a long time. He's been around everywhere and everybody. His are just a bunch of stories of craziness, of wild things that have happened. And he talks about getting out of racing whenever they changed up the suspension in the cars to make them so the engineers had to deal with it. And he's got a funny joke about a lawyer, what is it? A lawyer, a salesman, and an engineer go to heaven, or no, they're going to be killed by guillotine. And he says they go up to the thing and they said, all right, here's the deal, you know, we're gonna cut your heads off, whatever you've done, and but if the thing hangs up, then you get to walk away, you know, we'll just call it as an error, and it's like God's decision, and you get to walk away. So the lawyer comes up and he gets hung up and he goes, so that means I'm free to go? And he goes, yeah, you're free to go. He goes, okay, cool. Salesman comes up, same thing happens. The thing gets stuck and he's like, oh, so I'm free to go. He says, yeah. So the engineer comes up and he goes, hey, I see what your problem is right there. So the joke, yeah. So anyway, he tells it better. There's lots of funny stories in there. You just got to check it out. My stepdad's, or my father-in-law is big into NASCAR, and so I sent him a thing. I was like, if you check these out, these are really cool. I think you'd like these. Speaking of Mr. Bickle-Maynor, my dad and stepmom have retired, and they're in an RV, and they went down to visit him. And Dad's been posting stuff on YouTube under RPeek, R-P-E-E-K, visiting Bignell. And there's a lot of stuff in there with him interviewing him, talking about how the internet is bringing people together and building community and helping people out with information and sharing information about the real world, not the world that the media tells you it is. And I was really excited to hear this because for a long time, he's been the kind of guy who's allowed Fox News to dictate everything that he thought and breathed and thought and experienced as the real world. And yet he's learning through YouTube and YouTubers just using their phones, filming their life, saying, hey, this is not as bad as the news is telling you. He brings up one of the points about a lady down in Venezuela. There's all this reports of, starvation and chaos and all the country's going down the drain really quickly. And she's posting her life down there, and she's like, things are okay. Like, it's not really that bad. It's not what the media is making it out to be. And he's like, I think that's important, that we have everybody participate, because that way we get a real view of the world. And he's right. But anyway, Dad and Trish have gone on from there, and they're visiting the Polstons, Eric and Connie, down in Disney. They went to Disney World and the Magic Kingdom, and then they went to the Animal Kingdom, and then they went to the beach. And now they're going on to see other people. So there's lots of videos being published. Check it out on YouTube. I talked about Marc Maron, his new comedy special on Netflix, End Times Fun, and how it was okay. It was okay. I like Marc Maron's podcast. Marc Maron is one of the first podcasters that are out there. He's one of the bigger podcasters that are out there. He has a podcast show called WTF, which of course stands for what the fuck, He had a show on an independent film channel called Maron. I think it's gotten picked up by other people since. But he's acted in different stuff, and he's a good actor. He's a decent comedian. I know he's been around for a long time. Some of his jokes are very subtle. So, it's just not my style. I'll be honest. He's very funny on podcasts. He's very thoughtful and very self-effacing, I guess you'd say. He'd gone on Bert's podcast, the Bertcast, to promote the show, and they both admire each other for different reasons. Bert comments on the fact of, he's like, I look up to you. I see you as one of these guys who's like a great thinker. And, I aspire to be more like that as I get older. And Maron says, yeah, but I don't like watching me. I like watching you. Because you make me forget about all the stupid stuff that's rattling around in my head. And I just get to laugh. He's like, and you make me laugh. You're hilarious. So it was cool. It's a good conversation. But because of that, I went in search of, what else is Marc Maron on? Because I know he's probably doing the rounds promoting his Netflix special. And sure enough, The Fighter and the Kid, he's on there. And they do about almost 3 hours worth of conversation where they talk a lot about him doing interviews with famous people and what that's like. And, I think his most famous one is he did one with Barack Obama when he was president. He talked about the process of what they did coming out to secure his house and putting snipers on the roof and all kinds of craziness. But the guy came out in his garage and they did a podcast together. And it's out there. It's a good conversation. He gives you the nuts and bolts of what really happened. And he talks about meeting Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio. They were promoting their movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, about the Manson murders. And he said the weird part was when I found out Brad Pitt's actually a fan and he listens to my show. He was like, wait, what? You listen to my show? And he was bringing up references of things that he couldn't get unless he was watching or listening to all of them. And he said he sat down to do the interview and he had these questions set up and he started asking questions. And at a certain point he loses his place or gets frustrated and he just flies off the handle and gets pissed off. And Brad gets excited and he's like, oh, there he is. There he is. That's what I was waiting for. All right, we're in it now. And so, yeah, it's kind of a fun story to hear. So that episode was great. Again, I really like listening to Mark talk more than more than just his comedy. I mean, he's funny just as a person. He's got some funny stories. He makes a comment. He's like, I'm in my 50s and I've been married twice and have no kids. And that should just tell you what an asshole I am. I mean, right there. Which is hilarious. So yeah. So then I stuck around for the next Fighter and the Kid, episode 540, called Surf and Turf. And it starts off where Brandon Schaub apparently has brought in some kind of Japanese whiskey. And he talks about, he's like, I don't normally go for Japanese whiskeys. He goes, but this is really good. And he's talking about, they sent him a bottle because he was talking about a certain kind of whiskey that he likes. And he said this other company sent him a bottle. And he goes, this is a really good bottle. And it's 22 years old. And they looked up the price on the internet. It's several hundred, $2,200 or something like that. Like, holy crap, it's expensive. So they start having a little sip, and they get a little loose, and they start talking about, if it ever came to blows, which one of them would win. And of course, Brandon Schaub used to be a UFC fighter. So he comes in this thing, and he's like, listen, you can come at me any way you want. You can come at me by land or by sea. Surf and turf, baby. I'll give you a little surf and turf action. I'll mess you up, And so it became a little running joke between the two of them. And that just carried on throughout the episode. There's a thing on there about Billie Eilish doing a concert, I guess. You got to hear that part. Then there's a thing about Britney Spears breaking her foot on Instagram. Of course, that made me want to check it out. They played it on the air, and I'm listening to it. And when you're listening to it, you can hear her foot loud. Just, it's like, whoa, holy crap. And so I was like, certainly it wasn't that loud. Maybe they turned it up. So I looked at Instagram, and there's her dancing around, and it's to a Killer song. It's not a song you'd normally dance to. She's dancing around, she's barefoot, she's having a good time, and then you hear her foot snap, and she falls to the ground. I was like, oh no, that must have hurt. Holy crap. But yeah, so I enjoyed listening to them. They make me forget about whatever it is I'm doing. I just get to listen to them, and it's like hanging out with two friends that are just making you laugh because they're making each other laugh. They're being silly together. So anyway, Fighter and the Kid, check it out. Then the Bill Burr podcast, episode 6, came out. Again, Bill and Bert are both fans. They're both comedians. They're both, killing it right now, right and left with everything they do. Bill actually gets more loose on this one than he has in the other ones. He sort of gets into it about road rage. He gets into it about, what would Walt Disney think about the social climate of today if we could bring him back. There's lots of very interesting topics that he brings up in there. But he's also one of those guys that everything he talks about, you kind of see him working out a bit in his brain about how would I do this on stage. Every little topic is something that he can eventually take on stage and make funny in some way. So it's a very interesting podcast in that regard. Then I got deep into Timesuck with Dan Cummins. I went back. I was looking for an episode that Chad Powell mentioned. It's called The Greek Gods. And I know very little about the Greek gods. I mean, I watched Hercules, the little cartoon. I watched Percy Jackson, whatever. Get sort of a rudimentary idea of what it is. But this is interesting. He does a lot of research, and it's really messed up. And he talked about how messed up it is. And this is what they believed. And holy crap. It's hilarious. But listening to him, I realized that I have to regulate how much I listen to this. Because his podcasts are 3 hours long. It's like a Joe Rogan commitment. I mean, if you're going to listen to it, you're going to be like, okay, let me set aside this block of my life that I'm going to listen to this. And you sort of have to have a hard out. You're like, okay, at what point am I going to hit the done button and just go, okay, I've listened to it now. That's fine. I don't know. I think Joe's a much better orator than Dan is. But Dan's just spouting off a bunch of facts and making jokes and being silly. And it's fun to listen to, but I'll be honest, there's a good portion of it where I go, yeah, I'm out. This is just too much. It's too much information. It's too much commitment. It's great if I was on the road a lot more. But I guess I'm not on the road enough to listen to it all the time. That's the weird thing about commitments. You tell yourself you're going to do something and you want to stick to it and you want to participate, you want to be a part of it, but how much are you going to stick to it? How committed are you? Like, I was really big into Michael Rosenbaum, Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. But after he got past the people that I knew and started interviewing people that he just knew, I was like, yeah, I don't care. I don't care. I guess I'm not that into it. Oh, crap, what if I'm that? What if people have been listening to themselves and their friends that they know, and then when I do my solo ones, they're like, yeah, we don't care. Whatever, Josh. Whatever you're saying, dude. Don't care. Don't care what you're saying. Anyway. It is what it is. Dr. Drew After Dark. Listening to, I actually watched this on YouTube. Episode 56 and 57. I like it on YouTube because I can fast forward through the commercials. Whenever they do the commercials, it brings up the little ad at the bottom. There's like print. And I can just hit fast forward until I see that go away. And I can just hit play. Of course, he's doing the show right now with Christina Pazsitzky, Tom Segura's wife. And there's episode 56. It's a lot of them being silly. At a certain point, they talk about something called scrotuming, which apparently is something that happens when you smoke too much weed. You can throw up from it. Some people do. And they call it scrotuming. I don't know why they call it that. It sounds awful. It sounds like it's something to do with your scrotum. Really weird. And then one of the episodes, Christina says she has a dream that her husband has two penises. And that just got me spiraling laughing. I don't know why. But it's funny. They're funny together. Again, they don't have the live thing set up yet with the phone calls and the questions, but that's coming. This is basically Loveline 2.0. It's coming. Where My Mom's At? I watched that on YouTube also. Christina Pazsitzky has Leanne Kreischer on. Episode 35. Leanne talks a lot about the kids, specifically her oldest daughter, Georgia, learning to drive in LA, how stressful that is. She talks about Burr being on tour and managing him. She talks about weight loss and the fact that she's been seeing a trainer. And, at this stage in her life, it's hard for her to look at her own life and figure out what to do to get to the goal she wants to get. And this personal trainer can do that. And so it's really interesting. It gives you a good perspective on what it's like to be a celebrity or married to a celebrity or whatever, and also manage like regular day-to-day life and figure your own crap out, because we all have our own crap to deal with. It's kind of the point of it. I did watch a show on Amazon Prime called Hunters, and I talked a little bit about this in the last episode. I spent several days watching this. They're about an hour long. The first episode's an hour and 40 minutes or so. It's basically it's based on a real story. They sort of morph several stories into one story. But it's a real story about around 1977. These hunters realize that there are Nazis living in America. They uncover the story of Paperclip, the declassified story about how America chose to bring Nazi engineers into the country to further their NASA program. And sort of give them a new identity and just glaze over the fact that they committed war crimes and killed millions of people. Millions of Jews. Millions. Not like you and your neighbor Bob and your friend down the road. Millions. And this is a real story about this group of people who got together and started hunting Nazis. And I did a Google search on the real story. I found out that there was a program actually sanctioned by the U.S. to go after them. There was also a group of vigilantes who did the same thing. And this is a very interesting story the way it's told. And even if it wasn't based on fact, this story itself is interesting and done well. Al Pacino is like the main character. Well, second main character. I guess the main character would be the boy. There's a boy in this. His name is Logan Learman. He played Percy Jackson. If you guys ever watched Percy Jackson, he's that guy. He perpetually looks like he's 15 or 16, but I looked him up. He's 28. He's cursed with that eternal young face. But I guess that's good in Hollywood. You can keep playing a kid, even if you're not. But this is a hard show to watch because they do a lot of flashbacks to internment camps. They do a lot of flashbacks to horrible things that happened to them. There's a particular scene of a human chessboard that is very disturbing. But yeah, it's done well. There's a big holy crap reveal at the end that is going to get you off your seat and make you yell out loud because it's amazing. But yeah, Hunters. 10 episodes. I'm hoping they'll make more. There's definitely more of a story to tell. And they did a great job of setting the season up. Again, even if this wasn't a real thing that happened and you watched this as an outside story, you had no idea what any of this stuff had to do with each other, and you watched it, you'd be like, holy crap, this is good. And it is. But it's not something that if somebody passed by, like my wife, how is it? I'm not going to say good. Because good's not a right. Good is an insufficient word. I mean, I can say it's done well. But it's disturbing. So, anyway. That's it. I'm done, fools. Wrap this up. The next episode is going to be number 200. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I kind of want to plan something big, but I'm not sure what. So, anyway. And of course, it also doesn't matter. Even if I didn't keep up with this number and it just passed by 200 and you go, yeah, whatever, it's 200. Eventually I'll get that way. Right now it's just so new that I'm still like, oh, 200, you know. Yeah, I know. I got to get over that crap. I had tickets to go see Jeff Dunham coming up, and they canceled or had to postpone. But instead of doing it on a Saturday, they postponed it for a Thursday. So guess who's not going to Jeff Dunham now? Yeah. Oh well. Everybody's paranoid. Listen, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Wash your hands. Stop touching your face. I just looked at myself, touch my nose. You'll be fine. Wash your hands. Stop touching your face. Okay? That's it. Y'all take care. Thanks for listening. Line and Kugel Summer Shandy is out. If you guys wanted to know, just throwing that out there. You may have to go find it because if you live anywhere like where I live, your local distributor is not going to say anything about it. They're not going to tell you anything. You just have to randomly find it like a treasure hunt. Like there's little tiny nest eggs of joy hiding somewhere, and you have to find it like it was St. Patty's Day. You're looking for the pot of gold. Oh, look, it's yellow. Anyway, that's it. You guys take care. Thanks for listening. Please rate, review, subscribe. I've mentioned these shirts before, and I'm thinking about them the wrong way. They're just promotional tools. If you guys want a shirt, reach out to me. Tell me. If you don't live here, give me your address. Tell me what size you wear. Say, hey, give me a shirt. You know, I guess the more the merrier, right? So what this whole thing is supposed to be about, building community. I kind of want to send one to Bert and Leanne. I know Bert would never even wear it. Leanne probably wouldn't either. But I kind of want to send one. Is it weird? Should I send one? What do you guys think? Let me know. Give me some feedback, folks. Be part of this. Appreciate every one of you. Y'all take care. And wash your hands. Bye. Oh, cue the cow. Yeah, cue the cow.